Jeez, I've done so many Batman-related videos. It's time to take a break. Let's switch gears into talking about a movie that takes place in a decade I wasn't even alive in. Everybody Wants Some is the latest film from Richard Linklater, who directed stuff like Dazed and Confused, Boyhood, School of Rock, Bernie, the Before series, so this guy really has a great track record. This movie basically takes place in one weekend before college and follows a group of guys who are baseball players that live in this house as they go around their college town, meeting chicks, partying, fucking. Again, it's pretty much a weekend in the life of a college student before college in the 80s. Now, this is considered to be a spiritual sequel to Linklater's Dazed and Confused from 1993. Basically chronicled the last day of high school in the 70s. And there really wasn't much of a plot in that movie, but it was really good. I don't love it myself. I mean, I really like it. I really like it enough to get the Criterion version, but the reason I don't love it like so many other people is because, A, it takes place in the 70s, a decade that I wasn't alive in, so I can't relate to that matter. And I hated high school. High school was just terrible. Anyone who says high school was the best years of your lives, you're a liar, and you know it. Oh, that was a high school rant. And this movie is pretty much the same, except it's college and it's the 80s. So if you liked Dazed and Confused, you're probably going to like this. If not, then just don't bother. For me personally, I like this movie better than Dazed and Confused. And here's the reason why. Even though I was not alive to experience the 80s, thank God, I did love my college years. And a lot of the guys in this movie start out to be real douchebags. Like, they're picking on the new kid who's our main character. I mean, I'll say right now, there's really nobody recognizable in this movie. But the way they treat this kid really is kind of unfair to an extent, but that's for about 20 minutes. The thing that I could really latch onto is that after a while, all these characters start to really become likable, and they're just open to anything. They'll do anything just for the sake of doing something.
We've danced at a disco, danced the Cotton Eye Joe and kick her attire, and here we are, punks for a night.
And I knew plenty of guys in college who did the same thing, who were friends of mine. So when I watch this movie, I look at the character and go, oh yeah, I knew somebody like that in college. So, I mean, it's really great, and it really feels natural. That's the one thing I love about Linklater, is that all of his movies feel very natural. That's why Boyhood was my favorite movie of the year it came out, next to Captain America the Winter Soldier, because it had this very natural feeling, and it was a subject matter that I could relate to. The movie is a lot more funny than Boyhood because, again, this is supposed to be like Dazed and Confused, so it's really funny, and the humor all comes from the characters. There are a few silly moments here and there that just don't feel natural, but they don't really last very long. And once it's over, you're immediately pulled back into these characters. So it's really good. I really had a lot of fun with this movie, but there are some problems. There's small things. The movie does run a little too long. I mean, I will say this. I was never bored, but there are a few points in the movie where I'm like, this scene is dragging out a little too long. We just kind of need to wrap it up. And really, it could have been shorter. I don't think this movie is very well paced. Again, I was never bored, but a little too long. And one thing I'll say, this is a nitpick, but I want to go back to points in the movie that just felt unrealistic. There's a scene in this movie where the guys go to a party that's full of theater students. There's one character throughout this movie that likes to talk to women about his average size penis. It'll make sense when you see the movie. So there's a point when he's sitting next to a girl, and he's not talking at all, and she sees him as the silent type, and he's just like, yeah. And then she goes, I find that so sexy. And she starts making out with him right there on the spot. And I'm like, that has never happened as long as I've lived. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go on a personal streak right here. I was the silent guy in college. And that has never happened. That is just so out of nowhere and unrealistic. Some people could say, well, maybe she was drunk. But I just look at that and go, No, I don't think so. She did not look drunk at all. Maybe I'm being bitter in nitpicking about that, but if I'm going to really criticize that scene, it's because it just feels unnatural compared to the rest of the movie, and it feels like it was played for laughs. So it just felt a little forced. Again, maybe I'm bitter, but I listed my reasons why that doesn't feel natural. But regardless, Everybody Wants Some, I think, is really good. Sometimes movies without a plot can work, and Richard Linklater is one of those directors that can prove it. But again, it may not be for everyone. If you want a movie that actually has a plot, like 3-act structure, then you're probably not going to find it in this movie. If you like Dazed and Confused, and you kind of like movies where you just see guys do stuff and it takes you back to the days, then it's worth seeing in your lifetime, and that's the rating I'd give it. It's worth seeing in your lifetime. So, in terms of best of the year is still early, so we'll see what happens, but so far, this is one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. And that's my review for Everybody Wants Some. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I can't wait to hear what you think about the movie, if and when you see it. Like, comment, subscribe, share me with your friends. Don't forget to check out my official website. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, Periscope, and Riff.tv. Don't forget, the Indiegogo campaign for the Firefly fan film, A Faithful Companion, is still ongoing. There's less than a month to go help them donate, so donate, share with your friends, spread the word. They need your help in funding this film. And this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.